facing head-on the emotions beneath the surface as we bridge from an old world of confusion and lack to a beautiful new world of freedom, abundance, and love with straightforward truth and inspired hope is what you'll find on the Charla Anderson Show. Collector and connector of fascinating people. And everyone is fascinating. Here's your host, Charla Anderson.
Good, beautiful day, you beautiful, beautiful souls. This is Charla Anderson, host of the Charla Anderson Show, collector and connector of fascinating people, and everyone is fascinating, especially you, and especially my esteemed guest today, Jerry Roisentul.
Perfect.
Okay, good. And I'm so excited for you to meet him and know about all that he's got going on in this world. And I am super excited to remind us that we're going to get centered here for a few moments and have a little mini vacation, my little breathing time. We're going to breathe in some calm for 7 seconds. We're going to hold for 4 seconds, and we're going to breathe out gratitude for 11 seconds. So will you join me in this little be still and know moment? How's that? Here we go. Hold. Release. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I wish we'd do that more often. Take a few moments out of our busy day, turn off the 22 seconds to breathe in some calm. I don't think I even finished saying that, but having our wonderful time to be still and know and listen to that still small voice more often than we probably most of us are able to do in this world, busy world we're in right now. So I'm grateful that I have this amazing guest that we're both authors in this amazing book, The Change book series. Yours back there, and that's how we met, through this mastermind with this Jim Lutz and Jim Britt, an amazing group of people. So before I go any further, I want to let the world know that on my show today, the Charla Anderson Show, collector and connector of fascinating people, Jerry Roisentul is joining us. His Coach Jerry is what is better known as. He's out there in the California sector. And we're going to, I just want you to tell us who you are in this world, Jerry. What's going on? Who are you? And then we'll talk about what you do.
Who am I, Charla? Let's just get right to it. Well, my clients call me Coach Jerry because they butcher my last name almost every time. So I just said, why don't you just call me Coach Jerry? You can't butcher that. That'll be good. And everybody was happy with it. So first of all, I just want to say, Charla, I am so excited, first of all, that you and I are in the same book of The Change together. We're right after each other. And I'm excited about that. And I'm honored to be here today as a guest on your show. So thank you for having me. But who am I? Well, I live out here in beautiful and hot Palm Springs, California, where now in the summertime, the average daily weather is 115 degrees. I grew up in a much different environment. I grew up in West Los Angeles by the beach. I lived near Marina del Rey. I lived near Playa del Rey, Santa Monica Beach. I was there all the time as a kid growing up. Moved out here about 30 plus years ago, just to kind of start my life out here, because it was way more expensive to do it in LA than it was to do it down here in the desert. And so I've been out here for 30 years, and I've built, several businesses. I started out in real estate when I was out here. I built a very successful network marketing business for 18 years. And now I've been coaching, training, and mentoring around the world for the last 12. And I have a 21-year-old son who is really the joy of my life. I always think to myself, if I ever wonder, did I do anything right in my life? I just look at my son and realize I did something right. And so he lives out here. He lives with me right now. And, because young kids today, it's hard to get a start out there. So he's living with me, paying rent. But he and I have a very, very close relationship, and I love spending as much time with him as I possibly can.
What a legacy right there, that
Yes.
he's paying rent. So
That's right. He's got to learn.
I had a different experience with mine, but I have a 2.5 year. I have some grandkids, but the 2.5-year-old is nearby, and I see her so often, and
That's
so
cool.
that's how I know I did something right.
That's right. That's right.
I
That
had
is
good
right.
kids, but great grandkids, right? So, uh, so tell us, I just, it's all conversation with me. I don't really do interviews so much,
I
but
love that.
so just lead it wherever you want. Make sure you get your points in because I talk a lot, and since my name means to chat and joy in Greek, so, so
I love,
we're
I love, I love
yeah,
conversations.
yeah.
Conversations are
So
far better.
I
I
don't
guess,
have a list of questions other than I really know a tiny bit about your journey, your story, because you told all in this wonderful change
yeah,
book.
I
I'm sure
did.
it wasn't told all, but you told a lot, and the sad, you the success to devastation, and then what?
Yeah, I think, to understand where I'm at now, it's important to go back to where I was because there's a lot of people that are in difficult times that think this is the cards that I've been dealt. And yes, they're the cards you're dealing at the moment, but it's your choice whether to keep them or change them in for another set of cards. It all goes back to the way we think in our mindset. And the reason I got into mindset training, mindset work, leadership development training, is because of the experiences that I had in my life. Because 17 years ago, back in 2006, 2007, I had built a very successful network marketing business. I had met my son's mom. We got married. We worked together pretty much 24 hours a day for 10 years in that business, building it together. We built it from scratch. And when my son was born in 2003, we started going through these difficult challenges. My wife was upset, my ex-wife at the time, my son's mom was upset that I wasn't there helping out, and she was doing all of the stuff with my son, but yet I was the one running a business to try and keep her home so that she can stay there and not have to go work. And it just led to a lot of stuff, led to 3 years of counseling and therapy, whole nine yards. We decided to separate in the summer of 2006, and then I had my first experience with depression, massive depression. And I always tell people when I counsel them or I minister to them that depression is like a riptide. It just kind of grabs a hold of you and it refuses to let go. Doesn't mean you can't get beyond it, but you got to work at it. And by the end of that summer of 2006, my business that I had built up to that point was 13 years, just kind of imploded right before my eyes. My business fell apart. My income tanked. My son, I went from having every day to having twice a week because I was working during the week. So that's where the depression came from. And it all culminated in November of 2006. I was laying on the floor of my apartment, had a notepad, pen, and a bottle of pills. And I started writing a letter to my son, who was 3.5 years old at the time, trying to explain to him when he got a little bit older why his dad took his own life. And it was one of the most horribly dark experiences of my life. The good that came from that was it's when I had my first encounter with the living God. And I know that I know that I know that God saved my life that day because he had a greater plan and purpose for me than what I saw in that moment. And when I was able to get back up off that floor, I started asking myself some questions. How did this happen? How did the guy who was the motivator, the encourager, the inspiration, the one that everyone came to talk to with their problems, how did that guy end up on the floor getting ready to end it all? And it began this journey of understanding the power of our thinking, the power of our thoughts, the power of what we focus on. Because when I was really doing well, I was the manager of my own mindset. But when I found myself on that floor, my mindset had managed me. And so I made a decision that I wanted to spend my life helping people get beyond these mental blocks that we all have in our lives, the limiting beliefs, the doubts, the fears, the insecurities, the distractions, the disappointments, because it's all how we focus. I always say this, Charla, that success is won or lost in our mind. You can have all the greatest tools, the skills, all the things that you need to win. But if you have a jacked up, screwed up, messed up way of thinking, you're not going very far. And so many people today are struggling, and they're looking at all their outside circumstances as, well, this isn't happening and that's not happening. Well, it's not happening in here. And success comes from the inside out. And so we sometimes focus on what isn't working on the outside. We need to work on what's going on the inside. And so that began my journey of getting myself back up, getting myself moving forward. But that wasn't the last challenge I faced in my life. You know, they kept coming. And I had to keep jumping over the hurdles, just like a runner in the Olympics. Oh, here's another hurdle I got to leap over. Here's another one. But the mistake that people make is we get exhausted and tired of jumping hurdles, and we just stop running. We just stop running. We just stop doing the things that we know that we need to do. And that's where I find a lot of people today. And so what my coaching and my program is designed to do is help people develop that champion mindset. You know, how do we get inside of your mind? How do we figure out where these things have come from? How did you create them? They didn't just fall into your mind. There was experiences that you've had that have created it. We hold on to it. And I try to help people release themselves from those things so that they can free themselves to be able to move forward and become who they were created to be. And that's how my journey began. And that's where I'm at right now in my journey of helping people.
Amazing. So I heard, and I don't know where, but really the antidote to depression is action, a step.
Yes.
Take just doing one thing, the next thing,
Yes.
and then
Yes.
that's just a simplistic way to say it. But I know who I guess it was my son a while back. He was like, where couldn't even get out of bed to go to the bathroom. I mean, those kind of the really
Yeah.
deep stuff that
yes.
has horrific implications. And I guess another thing is when you have something that has to be taken care of, an animal or a child or sometimes, or maybe if you can see enough light to help someone else that might be worse off than you. Or, I mean, those are just little hints to get a little bit towards the mindset of healing. And because we're, really, I say this probably every show because it's so critical to me that I didn't know this, we weren't taught a lot of these things that we always say live in the present, but where you are is all you have, right? So this is the way I say it. Where you are is all you have, right here and right now. No matter what your circumstances are, this is all you have in this split second in time. And when you can realize that you can't change anything that's happened in the past, you can't change last word, last week, last generation, you can't change one thing that way. You can only change the next step, the next word, the next direction. If you don't like where you are, you still have if you can take a breath, you have an opportunity to do something different or take a different step. And so moving from this way to, realizing that all that brought you to here, from the beginning of Let There Be Light has brought you and me having this conversation in this moment right this second.
One of the things that you said that was really important about your past. And one of the things I teach people is that your past is your history. It's not your destiny, unless you make it that way. How many people have you heard of that grew up in environments of massive abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, verbal abuse, and yet today they're not those people? Did that mean that what happened didn't happen? No. That means that they made a conscious choice that I will not be defined by what happened. I am the writer of my story. Yes, that was a chapter of my story. That was not the end of it. And we have the ability to write that new story. We can either be a victim or we can be a victor. And I choose to be a victor and to say, you know what? My past, I learned from it. I grow from it. I become better because of it. But my future is written by me, nobody else.
I love that because, I mean, last week, my guest, Myrna Martinez, Myrna.ceo, when I first heard her story just weeks before, she was at 2 years old chained to a dining room table and forced to watch pornography with no freezing, and she had a baby by her brother at age 11, and she has 52 brothers and sisters, and was raised in the hood. She's a CEO of several companies now. She's just this dynamo, Latina dynamo that she, right. So, I mean, and she's like, she's the only one out of all of her siblings, but she had some drive, somebody saw something in her, and yeah. She had the drive to pull herself up and out. But her goal as growing up was to be the best, be the toughest kid in the hood. That was they can't see past that. Right. And that's in the DFW area, the hood, so in Dallas. So they're everywhere. It's a tough life. And when you start hearing those stories, and hers is just about one of the worst that I personally know. And she's chosen to.
She made the choice.
It's all choice. This is the deal. It's all choice. Everything is choice, and people can't grasp that. But you get to choose how you're going to react. You can't choose necessarily what happens usually, often, but you can certainly choose how you react to it.
You're right, and I could tell you one of the things that God put in my spirit during that journey back was something that has really shaped how I look at the things in my life. And for the listeners that are listening to this could help you as well. And this is what I felt is you either are overcome by your challenges or you overcome your challenges. Choice is up to you. You are either overcome or you overcome. Your choice. And that has really shaped who I am as a man, as a leader. That shaped the way I help people. I am compassionate and empathetic to the challenges that people have gone through, because we've all been through that. But at the end of the day, either the challenges overcome us or we overcome the challenges, and that's the choice we make. And just like you said, she made the choice. I will overcome this. I will not allow this to overcome me. That is power in action.
And action is the key word there. So, and that's the quote you had put in your pre-show notes, right? So I was going to ask you about that. So I'm glad you brought that up, because it's so true. And that, people in a dark place, when you're in the dark place, you look at people like you and like me that look like we got it together. Well, let me just tell you, I don't have it together. Nope. At all. I have an attitude of gratitude. First of all, gratitude is the key. Gratitude is the key. Just thankful that I can take a breath, or thankful that I, have 5 fingers, or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. But when you start with the gratitude, I believe that is a key or a trick to breaking through some of these depressions or anger. I tell my grandkids, I was like, nobody can make you angry without your permission. Nobody can upset you without your permission. Nobody can hurt your feelings without your permission. So keep your shell around you and let that reflect back. And bullies are victim too. So when they're in that mindset of, you don't be a victim around it. Consider that why would they say things, and why would they be that way? Because of where they come from, right?
Let me piggyback off that for a quick moment, because I always get asked the question, you know, how did you get beyond your depression? I mean, how did you get past it? And when you talk about gratitude, gratitude is such a powerful emotion that we don't think enough of. So when you're depressed, you are focusing on everything that is wrong, everything that is not happening, everything that has happened to you, and that stirs up an emotion. When you focus on gratitude, you're focusing on everything that's right, everything that's good. That also stirs up an emotion. And so one of the things that I learned, it's hard to be grateful and depressed at the same time. It's difficult to do. So when I was in those deep moments of depression, what I realized was I've got to get my mind focused on something that's not depressing me. So I had my gratitude journal, and I would literally, in those deep, dark moments of depression, when just the world is caving in on you, when you just feel like there's no way out, I took out a notepad and I made a list. What can I be grateful for? My health, my son, my mom. And I would make this list and I'd come up with 10, 12 things, and I would focus on all of that, that in the midst of everything, I still had things that I can be thankful for, and that these things, these people, are the very ones that help pull me out of that depression, because I was always focusing on, I could, listen, everyone, no matter what they're dealing with, has something you can be grateful for. And if we focus more on what we're grateful for and not what we're waiting for or what's tearing us down, we'll get through things a little easier than if we don't. So I agree with you 100%. Gratitude is one of the most powerful emotions that we can focus on in our lives.
And then the other side of that is, once you get started on the gratitude side, and I believe it will lift up, certainly. Forgiveness is another one. And so the two, they're like anchors.
Yeah.
Gratitude is the key, and it requires forgiveness if you really want to have a whole,
I love the
heart-filled life, heart-centered life. And, focusing on what's wrong, what's bad, what's happened and all that is only upset. My way of saying it, upset draws upset. You're going to get more of what you focus on. We all know that. We don't want to know it. We don't think about it sometimes, but what can we do in this moment to change one thing in our lives? And if you don't like where you are, do something different.
Change where you are.
Just speak a new word. And this, I've discovered this recently. I mean, every word matters. My book, I have, books that I've written, and Split Second Transformation. Every word matters. And so when my friend kicked my stool, the little stool, and she goes, she damned stool. And I was like, why are you damning my stool? Every word matters. And it was just a simple, silly example, but I had been just thinking about it, and I was like, even something that simple, you're cursing things that aren't worth cursing, that who cares, you kick the stool. So does that make any sense at all? Am I saying it the way I intended
100%. it? And once again, you said forgiveness. And that is, man, that's so important. I don't have time to get into all of it, but I can only say this. Forgiveness is vitally important for you to open yourself for the blessings of God to come into your life. God cannot bless you the way that you might want if you have a heart of unforgiveness. And forgiving someone is not for you, it's not for them. Forgiving someone is for yourself, to free yourself of that emotion that will block things from coming into your life. And so many times when I'm doing coaching with people, we're getting into those deep places and we're talking about, and I always ask people, are there people in your life that you are holding unforgiveness against? Now, I'm not a licensed therapist or a marriage counselor. And of course, if they need that, I will recommend they go do that. But I can give them basic things that will help them. And I've helped many people overcome their unforgiveness towards people simply by doing things that I did when I had to forgive the people in my life that hurt me and that wronged me, and realize that I was holding on to something that was keeping me bound to that place. And so what you said was so right on the money. You've got to forgive and then be grateful. And those two things, those pillars, really are what can transform your life. Totally agree with you, Charla.
Yes. And, once again, when you're in those dark places, it's really it's very challenging to make yourself, because it's the self-talk is so pervasive. There'll be, I think, 60 or 70,000 thoughts a day, and 99% of them are the same thought you had yesterday. And you have to, you can train yourself. You can train yourself to do something different. And one thing I would highly recommend, if we're talking about this to people that need to hear, turn off your devices, and please turn off the news, turn off the media, and just, take some time to get grounded, walk outside, have a get grounded, hug a tree if you need to, but walk barefooted, or just do, it's huge, get in the water, do something that is grounding to the earth, to get back into out of this electronic frenzy that we are in.
Yeah. It's sad because you and I grew up in a time that didn't exist. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have cell phones. I remember when I was a young kid and I was out playing, my dad said to me, "Hey, when the street lights come on, you need to come home," right? Kids today don't even understand what that means. But we live in this technology world, and it's going so fast, and it's massively addicting. And it's part of what's affecting our youth and our next generation behind us, is they are so tied into social media. And does it have its place? Of course. Does it have a purpose? Sure, it can do some good. But man, you said that the key: turn off the news, turn off the news is never, ever, ever going to tell you what's good. They're going to always tell you what's bad, what's negative. The world's coming to an end. I don't turn it off. Just listening to that will depress you.
Yes.
Right?
Fear. It's all fear-based. It's all lack-based. It's all, buy me. It's all, keep you engaged in a fearful mindset. And back in the beginning of 2020, I was making little videos going, "Hey, be prepared, not scared. There's so much more going on than meets the eye. Be prepared, be prepared, be prepared, not scared. Don't live in fear. Live in your faith that things are not as they seem, or things are better, are getting better, and keep loving people. Just keep loving people. If your message and your mannerisms attract people, because you're the light in the dark place, you be the light. Just keep letting people see that it's okay to be happy. It's okay to be positive. It's okay, and actually really beneficial to have a good attitude. Actually, I know I was always like, "You're just Pollyanna. It's not reality." And I'm like, "Well, it's my reality."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's my reality.
You know what, Charlotte? Just because people always have a positive attitude doesn't mean they don't have stuff they're dealing with in their life. They're just choosing the attitude they're going to have towards it. I don't know about you, but I got stuff going on all the time in my life, that pressures and stresses and things I have to deal with. But it's my attitude's a choice. I'm not saying, "Hey, I'm this perfect person." No, I'm just choosing that this is how I'm going to be. But that doesn't mean I don't have things that I'm dealing with and overcoming and going through. I just make a conscious choice. I don't want to be that way. So, and we're called to be a light in the darkness. Well, what kind of light are people shining out there? What do people see with your light? Do they see positivity and someone, man, I want to be around? Or is that light coming on and people are going, whoop, nope, nope, wrong room, got to get out of here. I want to be a light that brings people to me, not be the light that pushes people away from me. And so that, once again, is a choice we make.
Totally energy. I say this all the time. Collector and connector are fascinating people, right? So Aldi's at the grocery store. I have friends that, we go out to dinner now that I met at Aldi's, and it's just kind of because my aura, my spirit, or whatever you want to call it, is positive, and it's kind of surrounds, all of us have one, and it's either repelling or attracting. And that's our Holy Spirit inside of us that is just, the happier you are, the bigger it gets, or the more positive, I guess, or the more grateful. I believe the word is, the more grateful you are for everything that happens, is you just attract more of it.
Right.
More things to be grateful for.
Totally agree with you. 100%. Totally agree. Because I just, we're not trying to tell people, hey, things are always going to be easy. We're not here to, make light of what people are going through, because we're all going through stuff, some worse than others. But I've just known from studying successful people, reading incredible biographies of people, that overcoming is a choice that we make. We make the choice to be overcome, or we make the choice to overcome. God gives us free will. That's the beauty of it. He gives us the free will to make whatever choices we want to make. That's on us. So yes, I may not be able to control the circumstances that happen in my life. Like many people, we can't control all the things that happen to us, but we can control what's happening in us. And how you handle things in the darkness is going to help you handle things better in the light. And that's all, once again, goes back to the theme of this conversation today, is choice. It's all a choice.
I always had my signature is choose joy all these years, a lot of years. Then I found out my name means joy. Wow, that was amazing.
Fits you perfectly. Fits you perfectly.
But my parents were prophetic. My name means to chat in Spanish. I already mentioned this, and joy in Greek. But they didn't know, but
right,
God did. I guess so.
Right, that's all that matters.
I know. So we probably should at least spell your name and let
sure.
give your website, and here in the middle here we can just kind of figure out who you are and how people can find you.
Sure. So Jerry is Jerry, Jerry. Last name, which always gets misspelled. So here's a spelling. It's Roisentul. No H anywhere in my last name. Jerry Roisentul. You can find me on Instagram under my name. You can find me on Facebook under my name. You can email me at championmentorship.com. That's actually my website. So you can go to championmentorship.com. My website's going to be revamped. So what you'll see is only going to be temporary, because we're going to revamp my website, but you can still go there. There's all sorts of things that can help you there. There's a free downloadable video on the main page that I did called Kicking Your Limiting Beliefs to the Curb. So if you get in there and you put your name and your email address, it'll be sent to you right away, and you can actually watch that video. If you want to email me any questions or any ways I can help you, you can email me at jerry@championmentorship.com.
You've written a book called Doubt.
Don't let doubt take you out.
Don't let doubt take you out. Yes, I didn't have it right in front of me. So that's an amazing name of a book that I'm sure is very impactful as well.
It's been a good book. It's a bestseller. It's an award winner. People have been blessed by it. It's my journey, and lots of the different things I talk about: imposter syndrome, procrastination, all these things that create doubts, and then give people specific tools on how to overcome them.
Yeah. So we are in a time of a season, I guess, of humanity that is seemingly out of control. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So keeping grounded and keeping connected with people that have um that will lift you up instead of tear you
Right,
down, and things like
right.
that, and get out of that complaining. By the way, complaining, ooh, it becomes
Oh,
a
yeah.
habit and becomes a rut in your brain, and you can't get out of it easily.
Right.
So stop it.
That's
Nobody
right.
wants to hear it anyway, do they? Sorry, nobody wants to. Nobody cares. That's
Absolute truth.
okay. Good. Didn't know if you're going to
Absolute
agree on
truth.
that one or not, because unless you're going to do something, unless you're doing something, taking an action to change what you're complaining about, zip it. Nope,
Yeah.
it's not worth it. You can, no, if you got something to deal with it. If you need mentorship or hand holding or whatever, fine. But don't go into the multiple over and over a million times, and you're saying the same thing. Nope, it's just
Yeah.
not serving any good purpose
Correct. Except
and
keeping you stuck.
keeping you in the dark. Is that what you said? I didn't hear the
Yeah, keeping you stuck. It just keeps you
stuck.
stuck.
Totally.
Yeah. It just keeps you stuck. Like I always tell people, if you're in quicksand, don't focus on the fact that you're sinking. Focus on what can I do to get out of this quicksand. It's just a mindset shift, and because you'll never get out if you're not focused on the solution. You're always going to get stuck if you keep focusing on why am I getting stuck? Why am I here? Well, you're going to keep sinking. Focus on what can I do? Can I make a call? Can I follow up with somebody? I always tell people the way you get out of quicksand of life, the way you get out of your problems is just do one positive thing. Don't think of 15, 20, overwhelm your mind. What's one thing I can do to just begin the change? Make that call, follow up with that person, do something that you've been procrastinating. One positive step in the right direction can be all you need to spark you to move forward. Just one thing can
I
make a
love
difference.
that. I love that so much. And I actually had a conversation with someone yesterday, and he was like mentoring or talking with someone, and she was just in this slump, and I just can't seem to get out of it. And he said, sometimes you need a little kick in the booty to, or to kick somebody in the booty to get them to think differently. But he said, well, why don't you go fix your hair, wash your, get some new clothes, get dressed up, as if, act as if you are the successful person you were, or that you won't intend to be, and that's a positive step to sometimes just taking a shower, right? It feels better, but he said a few days later he saw her again, and she was stunning. I mean, just transformed, and just doing that, getting cleaned up, getting a shower, if you're I mean, I've lived in a lot of chaos in the last few years, a whole lot of chaos. And, what if, just at the very least, get your sink clean, just have one thing that you focus on, just one thing and just even if you put everything out on the counters, just have a place where you can wash your hands or rinse a dish. And that mentality gives you, it makes you feel a little bit accomplished.
Big time. And that changes your mindset. Totally changes your mindset. There's just one quick quote I'll share with you before we wrap up. I love this quote. It's from T. Harv Eker. He wrote a book called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Fabulous book. But he says this in the book: how you do anything is how you do everything. And I love it. Simple and so true. So if you procrastinate in one area, chances are you're procrastinating in every area of your life. And so that's just a great reminder that how we do anything is how we do everything.
I went to a T. Harv Eker Millionaire Mind workshop and I was the first one in the room that actually broke an arrow with my throat.
Wow.
It's not walking on fire, but
Right.
it's a mindset kind of a thing as well. So that was, yeah. You haven't heard of feel the fear and do it anyway.
Right. That's right.
That was
Dr.
it.
Susan Shepard.
I
First
wonder
book
where I
ever
still
written.
have that arrow somewhere. That was amazing how you can break the board when you when you have the mindset, because
Right.
we have been, I'm going to just call it dumbed down. We have been trained to think that we don't have very much power. And Jesus said, you can do what I did and even more. You can do what I did and even more. I think it's John 14:12. Yeah. Well, we believe a lot of other things he says, but do we believe that? I do. I witness it.
I do 100%.
But were you taught that in religion? And I mean, I was raised religious, but I don't think
I wasn't.
religion ever taught us that we could do what Jesus did. He's way over here. Oh, that was Old Testament, whatever. Or I mean, that's in the old days, 2,000 years ago. That doesn't apply today. Well, are we picking and choosing?
Right. Well, it says that we're supposed to have or develop the mind of Christ. Well, look at his mind. And if we're supposed to develop the mind of Christ, we've got some work to do, right? Because that's a pretty powerful mindset, and we're never going to be perfect. That I always tell people, progress over perfection. Stop trying to be perfect. Just focus on making progress, because perfection is overrated, and people can't duplicate perfection. And the only perfect person died 2,000 years ago, and none of us are going to follow. Mm-hmm. So progress over perfection any day, and develop that strong mindset. And it takes work. It's not easy. And I still work on my mindset daily. The Bible says to renew your mind daily, not once in a while, not when you feel like it, not when the world's caving in. It says renew your mind daily, because every day you got new challenges, new obstacles, new setbacks. Your mind has got to be prepared to work on those every single day. So it's a work in progress.
So I say, excellence, strive for excellence, strive for doing really, the best you can do and be the best you can be, but you don't have that. If you strive for protection, I can't even say the word perfection. We're just, you're setting yourself up for failure. So, that I agree with that 100%. So yeah, just be the best you can be, and it feels like this talk today, our conversation, I'm having a great time, because it's never about religion on my show. We talk about religion or some scripture here and there, but it's just who I am. It's not, I don't have a rules and regulations God in a box anymore. And I just think God doesn't have a box, and he just says, if he's unconditional love, then I'm going to be unconditional love. So that's my goal.
Absolutely.
Wow. Am I there? Am I perfect? No. And another way of doing this is when things happen to you, or think people, I suggest that instead of taking on the upset of that, maybe you be blessed. And the easiest example is you get cut off and you're like, may you be blessed. May you be blessed. And you've heard people talk about getting, whatever happened on the road for days, that guy did I almost got whatever. Get over it. Yeah. Get over it.
And once again, you can't control the fact that person cuts you off. You control how you respond to it. And you never know that person might have an emergency. Something may have happened. They're racing to get home to their kid or their spouse. You don't know.
You know what I like to say? They must have to go to the bathroom more than me.
That's always a good one to remember, right? Boy, that person's bladder is going to blow up pretty soon. I feel bad for him. Let me pray for him.
May you be blessed. Let it go, and relax, release, and let it go. Yep. And I guarantee you, life is going to be smoother.
Absolutely.
Without holding on to the, this anger and the angst. It's not going to serve you.
No.
I promise that.
You're absolutely right. 100%.
Well, Jerry, this has been a real delight, and
It's been great.
by the way, I will say this: if anybody hears this on you that knows you, they need to reach out to you so they can be a author if it intrigues you to be an author in the Change book series with Les Brown on the cover.
Yeah.
If you know Jerry, reach out to him. If you know me, reach out to me, because it's an introduction. It's not something you can just
We have
go
our
out
two
there and find.
mentors on the back.
Oh,
This is Jim
yes.
Lutz, 30-year professional. The speaking industry is amazing. This is Jim Britt. Jim Britt actually was Tony Robbins' first mentor and was Jim Rohn's partner for 10 years. And part of the beauty of the Change book series is once a month, we get on with these two legends and be mentored and trained by them. Unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. I've learned, I got to, implementation is another piece of our world. I still got some of that, but I've learned some of the simplest, most straightforward, easy to do, not, or simple to do for sure. Marketing tips that I've ever heard in my life in the last few months when I've got sent from these guys. They're just easy going, down to earth people, but they really masterful at marketing and getting things out there and helping us. I love that. I love that group.
Yeah, me too. It's
the mastermind and the Facebook group.
Yeah,
it's incredible. Probably one of the more. I had to take out a loan to do it. It's like $3,500, something like that. I might as well. I mean, that's just the way it is. But
the trainings are worth the investment all by itself.
And then
you get the book on top.
Of marketing material, man, that's great.
Absolutely.
And there's 20 other authors. 20 authors, I think, total, give or take. So I thought, that's a huge piece and the reason we met anyway. So
that's right.
That's right. People that want that credibility factor, reach out to one of us, because that will, we can introduce you to these guys and I love that. So
I do too, my friend.
Well, our time is winding down. I really appreciate getting to know you. You've got so much to offer, and in your chapter in the book, you've got step by step how to what is your method? I better look at it again. You can just
I forgot.
It's on page. I'm on page 81. Anyway, you've got a step-by-step on your process, and I was
overcoming limited beliefs.
Overcoming limited beliefs. There we go.
The process I've used for years, and so I wanted to put it in there because I thought it would be a blessing to people who would read it. And so it's great. And you're right before me, so we're back to back, which is fantastic. And I love that. That's how, and like you said, that's how we met. Just another great connection, relationship, friendship, all brought together by being part of this incredible book series.
Very, very much, very, very grateful that so random how I found out about it, and I chose to take that bold step to do something. I'm like, why? This is what it is. I was like, why me? Who am I? And why am I going to be in a book with? And she said, why not you?
That's right. That's right. Why not tell your story? You have a story to tell too. Why not tell it?
Tons of stories, and everybody's got stories, and that's why I'm doing my show, because I want people to have hope. I want them to have skills to overcome. That's cool. We're all overcomers, and we all have a story. So thank you so very, very much for being my guest today, for being on here with me, and I can't wait to just keep in touch and see where we land. And I'm very inspired by your overcoming story, because a lot of us have gone through that.
Yep, 100%. And I appreciate your friendship. I appreciate being on your show. And I know this is the first of many good things you and I will do together. No doubt about it.
Yeah, let's keep in touch for sure. So championmentorship.com, Jerry Roisentul. Roisentul.
Got it right.
Roisentul. I had to write it enough that I did learn how to spell it. So so really, any last word, anything you want to just
Just want to encourage whoever's listening to this that whatever you're going through, just know that you can get past it and will. It may take some time. It may take some growth. It may take you doing different things in different ways, but I promise you, whatever you're going through, you will overcome. You just got to do the right things and get your mind in the right place to make that happen.
And while you're saying that, don't allow this, both of us being so positive, to think, oh, we can never, I could never talk to them. No, I'm real people. I'm real down to earth, and Jerry said it too. He's an open book. We both are, and we really have been through enough to offer solutions and suggestions and hope for you too. So it's not just, what you see is not necessarily, certainly not all there is. So
you know what I always tell people, Charla, just to wrap this up, if you, not you personally, but if someone listening, if you put me on a pedestal, do me a favor and knock me off. Because the reason that we're able to connect with people, you and I, is because we've been through the valleys. You can't connect with people and understand their circumstances if you've never been through any yourself. So because of what we've overcome, we can help people get beyond that. So don't put us on pedestals. We're just like you, in the trenches, working hard, trying to be the best that we can be, getting knocked down, getting back up. We're no different than you. So don't put us somewhere that we don't belong. That's just what
Amen.
That's how you end the show.
Give me 5 on that one.
That's how you end the show.
Well, blessings to you, and I'm going to stop recording. I'll be here every week. See you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Parting is such sweet sorrow. The Charla Anderson Show, encouraging you to stand strong and courageous with bold faith, no fear, immense hope, kindness, and love, especially towards yourself. Visit charlaanderson.com for replays, blogs, and more on her ever-expanding website, as well as watch her live TV show on winwinwomen.tv, Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And so that we can continue learning together and growing this community of beautiful souls, we invite you to share the Charla Anderson Show with your circle of friends. Until we meet again next week, remember always, choose joy.